All right, let me set this up for everybody out there. We are live with Darin Thomas, head coach at University of Texas, Arlington. Guy's been there for a long time. He's guided the Mavs to 362 wins over his 13 seasons at the helm. He's been there since 2001, 7 years as an assistant, 2017 Sun Belt Coach of the Year. In the 10 seasons you've been the head coach, you've won conference title 3 times, made a regional. In the 19 years, this is impressive that you've been there. 59 players drafted, a bunch of MLB guys. Let's see, Hunter Pence, a notable one. Out of the 11 guys who've played in the MLB, you've coached 8 of them. So you're doing a great job. You play one of the toughest schedules anywhere. Tell us about your crazy schedule and all these teams you play and how that prepares you for your season.
Well, part of it is our location. We're right in the middle of the Metroplex. So we're, for a Tuesday, we're within 3 hours of a lot of people. And fortunately or unfortunately, however you look at it, they're all good. We play A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Baylor, TCU, Dallas Baptist. There's a lot of good ones. And that'll help your RPI if you win them. It helped us last year before we got shut down. We were 2-2 in midweeks against top 25 schools. So the strength of schedule is never a problem at UT Arlington.
I would say that for sure. So for the people out there watching, before this season was shut down, you guys were on a roll, 12-4. You took down top-ranked opponents in the top 20, Dallas Baptist and TCU. You won 3 series. I mean, you guys were rolling. You guys were looking really strong. You had a good, solid group of kids. How do you keep that momentum through this really funky offseason now into next year, 2021?
Yeah, you know what? I think a lot of it depends on the seniors. We had a lot of seniors last year, a lot of senior position players, and we were very good on the mound. And if we can get most of those guys back with the relief the NCAA's given us and the support of our school, they're pretty motivated. And I think that's one of the reasons. You talk about momentum. I think that's one of the reasons why a majority of our seniors want to come back, is because we were winning. As good a team as we've ever had, and they don't want it to finish the way it finished.
Yeah. So I mean, so you'll get most of those seniors back if they want to come back.
Well, yeah. If they want to, the draft, on June 10th is going to have a little bit to do with it, but man, I'd love to have them back. They know they're welcome back. Their scholarships there. Everything's in line for us to be very solid next year, because we had 11 seniors that are eligible to come back, and they're all good players.
So how do you how do you stay connected with all these guys during the off season? Like, what do you?
Like Fed said, it ended so abruptly. We didn't have exit interviews. We met and the season ended, and we thought, well, we'll meet again next week. And then in between that meeting and the next week's meeting, we were told they needed to go home, finish online. And so a lot of phone calls, Zoom meetings, not huge on all that. The biggest thing is we keep in contact with them, like everybody's talked about on your interviews, is the grades. Just talked about make sure they're making progress there, trying to head off any problems that could happen as far as finals. We're getting close to the end here. We're about done. But just we have a team sync deal that's our communication device, and it's basically a group text that goes out if we have any questions. And there's just not a lot of information to give them because there's so many unknowns. But just to try to keep them motivated in the classroom right now is the biggest thing.
Yeah. So all right. So I got a couple questions I was just thinking about while you're talking. So one, like a guy who does come back for a senior year after he graduates, does he even have to take any classes, or does he just get to play baseball?
No. The rule is if you're working on your degree, you have, and it's the last class you need, that can be the one class you take. But a majority of these guys will be working on a master's degree. And we have some of them that graduated in 3 years. They were already working on a master's last year. So it's huge. They could finish a master's degree in their 5th year of eligibility. And
that is awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's very beneficial. And then also I think that those guys are going to have to weigh, if I get a chance to sign as a free agent, just like every senior out there is, or do I go back? What is going back for another year of college baseball? What is that worth? What is that worth to me? The experience, the scholarship, getting that degree finished and not having to come back after I'm done with baseball.
Yeah, and I think, one of the other blessings in disguise maybe here is you do have an extended period of time where guys can be learning a lot about the game and themselves and resting the body and coming back stronger and healthier than they ever have.
We talked about that. We had some older guys that were coming off injuries. We thought, well, they get at least when we do see them again, they'll be healthy. Because we were just getting some guys back into shape after surgeries, bad back here or there. We're old, so when you get old, you have to make sure you're healthy, and that will be, as long as they're taking this time and learning the game, and there's only so much you can do. But staying ready, like you said, stay ready for when you get that chance, and when everything's open back up, hopefully there's some summer baseball. If not, we'll tackle it in the fall.
And, stay ready. These guys may have to do, especially in Texas. I hear there's something going down in Bryan, right, where they're inviting some kids.
I've heard things on Twitter. Obviously nothing's going to happen on our campus at least through July 31st, and so we've had to shut down tournaments and things at our field and camps until the fall. So I don't know. Everything's canceled. So if more power to them, if they can get something done and kids can play, great. But I don't know what the protocol is to go through it, in our state yet.
Got it. All right. So you've been coaching for a long time. Obviously you've got, a system and a recipe for success. What is it that you're looking for in a Mav to be? Like what makes a good player for you?
Well, I think and everybody said the same thing. So I think everybody's looking at the same thing. Versatile. You have to be able to do more than one thing. BB core bats. You got to be able to play defense. You can't just be a hitter. Those days are over. You got to be able to play more than one position. But that's what we use our fall for. Is if something happens in the spring, which it usually does. There's usually injuries or things that happen. Can I move a guy to another spot? And if you're just stuck on this is all I can do is play second base, or this is all I can do is play, left field, then that limits your chances if somebody beats you out with the bat. So
Got it.
The versatility, toughness, and competitiveness. If you're competitive, and that's a hard thing to measure when you go out and evaluate. If you're competitive and you've got some toughness, and a lot of times you don't find that out till after they're here. It's one thing to recruit a guy and have him on a visit. It's another thing to coach them in the fall and a little more about them. It's a whole other thing to coach them in the spring when games in the lineup goes up and maybe they're not in there as much as they think they should be, or when you're playing through the grind of 56 games. I know that's not a grind, compared to pro ball, but the toughness factor. Can they handle failure? You're going to fail. Attitude, body language. Everybody. I think all your coaches are saying the same thing. So the kids there. That's a big deal. You're going to fail. You've got to have some mental toughness.
That's right. It's important. All the kids out there watching, like that is one of the things, like you said, every guy has said, like they want to see those other factors. You got to be tough and you got to compete. And that's one thing I learned playing baseball through college. Like that's it. Compete. Like get up every day and go.
You can have the prettiest swing in the world. We can talk about swing mechanics all we want, but I want a competitor in the batter's box. I want a competitor wanting the ball hit to them with the game on the line. And you definitely want competitors on the mound that they're not worried about anything other than I'm getting this next guy out.
Got it. All right. So we got a couple minutes left. I want to touch on your facility because I really love the place out there. Clay Gold Park. Man, you got one heck of a player's clubhouse, the locker room, the hitting facility. Talk a little bit about that so the people out there know what you got to work with.
Well, we've got an outstanding. We got a major league clubhouse. It's huge. It's beautiful. It's nice. We've got everything we need there. We've got a nice indoor hitting facility with up to 5 cages, air conditioned, heated, used all the time. It's a player development facility, and we've got a great grounds crew that takes care of our field, and I love playing where we're at. It's a great spot. Arlington's awesome. It's a pro sports town, but also, we're close enough to a lot of good baseball players that the facilities definitely help attract kids.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, if you got a facility, people will show up. And I was mind blown when I walked in there. and
Yeah.
saw all that stuff.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yep, it's excellent. So, any last thoughts for the kids out there? What would you
Well,
tell the players watching to stay motivated?
I would say, you talk about staying ready. It's mentally ready. You can do a lot. You can only do so many things physically because of what you have to work with, but it's a matter of just realizing everybody's going through the same thing. Major leaguers on down to little leaguers, everybody's going through the same thing. It stinks. It stinks for the 2020 class that they didn't get to finish their senior year. They don't get that back. But you got, just like in baseball, you got to move on and go to the next best thing, and hopefully this thing gets rectified soon. And you, like you said, you got to be ready to go when we can get back on the field.
Yep. Hey, everybody out there, great words of wisdom from Darin Thomas, head coach at UTA Arlington right here. Darin, appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you being a part of Team Easton. Stay ready.